Hey, thanks for recommending my book on your YouTube channel. People are contacting me on Facebook expressing gratitude to you for leading them into ceremonial magic. Lyam Thomas Christopher. So that just happened. Yes, I do have a lot of people who contact me and express their gratitude for what I'm doing and teaching. But it's those who came before me, such as Lyam Thomas Christopher, and those who have taught me, who deserve the gratitude as well. And so I'd like to share with you my response. And you have my eternal gratitude for writing the book that changed and saved my life. I cannot recommend it highly enough, but I do my best to. If I inspire people to the path, it's only because of you and others whose great work inspired and preceded me. Thank you for the wisdom and guidance over these past many years. Because if there was no Lyam Thomas Christopher, there would be no Frater Xavier. And while I already knew much about the occult and magic, it wasn't until the book Kabbalah, Magic, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Lyam Thomas Christopher that I had a solid foundation of practice. Before that, I was like most other people who just merely tried to change the external instead of focusing the changes within myself. And so it's quite humbling for me to have one of my mentors thanking me when I should be thanking them. Everything comes full circle. So if I've been increasing the sales of his book by talking about it, it's because of the great value that it's had in my life, and that value is being returned to source. I think of how wonderfully strange it must be for Mr. Christopher to have such an impact on others, who then in turn impact even more people, just as it will be for me to have many of you go out and then be shining examples in whatever you're doing, whether it be magic or something else. It's a beautiful thing. And magical in of itself. It is the Hermetic principle of cause and effect. We can have a tremendous rippling effect. And I'd like to thank Mr. Christopher, who I've never met or even spoke to before this, for sending me that message. To say that it made my day would be an understatement. Frater, what do you think about Lyam Thomas Christopher's suggestion, insistence, not to do other spiritual practices while using his curriculum? Too restrictive? Well, I'm sure he can explain it better than I can. However, I'll give you my take on it. He really doesn't go into why you shouldn't do other practices at the same time. So I'll tell you why. There are a couple reasons for it. The first is discipline. Let's say you've been working through the book and you're halfway through the elemental grades. And you decide, well, you know what, I'm going to try some other practice. I'm going to try some other magic. And you start doing some magic and it works. And you keep doing it and it works. And now you're getting everything that you wanted getting into magic. And you figure, why on earth would I spend another couple years finishing the curriculum when I have everything that I wanted from the get-go right now? And so you quit, but since you were halfway through the elemental grades, you're even more unbalanced than when you started. So it's a discipline to avoid temptation. The other reason is that throughout the course, you're going to be invoking and submerging yourself in many different energies. Some are pleasant, and some can be uncomfortable and downright painful. It's all part of the process of self-transformation. And you don't want to be taking on any practice that's going to interfere with that process. Now, is simple candle magic and sigil magic going to be a disruption to that? Probably not. But you're going to have to ask yourself if you can stay the course. If you were given everything that you thought you wanted, would you stay the course? Because the things you thought that you wanted at the beginning may not necessarily be the same when you finish. And I appreciate the question. Thanks. You have some good info, but I find it hard to weed through your self-references. You had a cold. Fine. Why mention it on multiple tracks? Pronunciation of Frater. Please. And no, I'm not normally this much of a negative Nelly. I'm just frustrated because I want the mystery school info and you pop up first on the list and your style is off-putting. Cut to the chase, please. And here I was concerned about getting to the point too quickly. All I can say is that you're welcome to learn from others out there. You may find the selection limited, however. And part of the reason for that is people like this who feel they're owed something and want everything handed to them. You know, teach me the decade plus of knowledge that you've acquired without me really having to do anything. I got 10 minutes, go. And if you do start to tell them, they're like, well, just cut to the chase. Just get to the point. Or they'll stop and they'll look at their phone, roll their eyes, be disinterested. Don't want to go through the boring stuff. Don't want to go on the journey. They just want to reach the destination. And it simply can't be done. Experience is the best teacher. And I use personal references because I'm talking about my experiences. You see a difference between a life experience and a magical experience when all life is a magical experience. Just get to the point already. The point is, for you, I would find a magical path and practice that requires a far less amount of patience. If you do not have patience, you won't get very far in ceremonial magic. And if it's just me, that's fine too. Not everybody vibes with the energy of others, but you should find someone to learn from who you do vibe with. Learning shouldn't be such a torturous experience. You should be enthusiastic. And so you're going to have to find someone who you're enthusiastic about. I just always find it odd when people come to me, want something from me, and then complain about what they're given. There are other magic channels out there. I'm not the only one doing this. What has been your experience doing magic during the Mercury retrogrades? Should it be avoided? No, I've had plenty of success during Mercury retrogrades. It depends on what you're trying to do and where Mercury is. Mercury is retrograding in Taurus right now, so you may want to hold off on any money magic until it goes direct again. Magic is fine during a Mercury retrograde unless you're using Mercury. So hold off on anything that Mercury rules over, such as magic involving your business and commerce. The exception is mercurial magic that's the other side of Mercury, the trickster side. I believe I told you guys once about a glamour spell I did for a client who wanted someone that she liked to see her as the most beautiful. And that was done during a Mercury retrograde because of its positioning and its deceptive trickster nature. But you have to take other planetary aspects to Mercury into account as well. I have to say this particular Mercury retrograde, I've been getting my ass kicked. I usually don't have that many problems with Mercury, but this one has been especially rough. I'm really looking forward to getting through this final week, although I know that it usually hits hardest at the beginning and the end. And I appreciate the question, thanks. You know, I haven't said this before, but I've been thinking that if I ever met you, I would probably hug you. And I don't hug people that easily, but I would really hug you. And I appreciate the sentiment. I would probably hug you back. Or call the cops. But thank you. I appreciate that. So let's do one more. Great video, and thank you, and very nice job on your temple. It looks beautiful. It's Frater as in not Frater, my dear Frater. By the way, I know because I was corrected myself once by the chief, not because I'm a know-it-all. Lol. Frater is in fraternity. Love your videos. LBX. Frater Pan. And there I stand corrected again. Yeah, I know it's from fraternity, but I've heard people say it both ways. In fact, I started this channel with Frater, and I had people jump me for it then, back when it was Frater X, and changed it to Frater Xavier. Because one, there was already a Frater X out there, and two, Frater Xavier just rolled off the tongue. It kind of rhymed, and so I went with it. Call me Frater, Frater, whatever you wish. It doesn't really matter all that much. At some point we're going to need to get into the trappings of being hung up on structure. But that's all the time I have for today. Now, for the next mailbag, I want to try something a bit different. I'm going to be taking questions from Twitter. At least I would like to. YouTube's message and comment system really isn't the best. It's difficult to keep things orderly when it routinely takes things and puts them out of order. I'm not sure Twitter would be any different, but I want to give it a shot. It will also limit the questions to a short length. As much as I keep saying that I don't have the time to answer 5 or 6 paragraphs, people keep writing them. So for the next mailbag, I want to take Twitter questions only. I'm not saying that's going to be a permanent thing, but I want to try it out. And I will see you next time. Take care.